first episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second week of March 2012. This episode is titled The New Episode. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, your new cloud computing experts. I'm your new host, Jason Atwood, and joining me for the 81st time is the other new host, the co-host, the new Justin Elstein. Justin, how are you doing today?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
All right.
Next week, is this still the new episode?
Next week, this would be the episode 4.
Oh.
We're just going to skip over that completely.
Okay.
All right, well, we have an agenda today. We're going to have basically two things. We're going to talk about a Desk.com review, Salesforce's new sort of the rebaking of Assistly, the thing they bought. So you had a chance to take a look at it, wrote a blog post about it. We'll talk about that. And then we'll just get deep into Apple announcements because there is all sorts of stuff. Basically, the whole world stopped for a day and paid attention to all things Apple, so we'll discuss some of them. We've both watched the announcements, and maybe some of us have made some purchases, and so we'll talk about that, and then we'll wrap it up with our CloudFocus app pick of the week. So go for it, and start me off with Desk.com.
Sure. So I went about setting up Desk.com with the sole purpose of writing about the experience. Mm-hmm. And I came out, I could not have been more impressed with...
So give me a little history on what Desk.com is for those who are just tuning in for the 81st episode.
So Desk.com was Assistly, a standalone social mobile help desk product that Salesforce purchased. I put these dates in my blog post. They purchased for a reported $80 million back in September of 2011.
Wow.
And then relaunched in January of 2012. Probably one of their quickest turnaround and relaunches. Apparently, they did not just rename it Desk.com. They actually rebuilt some of the architecture from the ground up. The APIs, the HTML5 user interface, all of the niceties that now exist in Desk.com. Salesforce did do some work to it, or whoever works at Desk.com. Right. Presumably, it's still the same people.
We've heard through insiders that they haven't meddled with them. They let them do their thing. They told them what to do,
because they do a good job. The title of the blog post kind of says itself: a Desk.com review. It is awesome.
Why
really
even read the whole thing?
Why it's awesome. So let me just first off say that we tweeted the Arkus Inc. account at Arkus Inc. tweeted our blog post as they always do. I retweeted it.
Yep.
And mentioned at Desk, which is Desk.com's Twitter name.
When it originally got tweeted, Twitter decided to turn Desk.com into a thing.
Into a shorter.
Which I didn't do, but it is weird. So it's great.
So I redid it. I did it at Desk, and they got back to me, which obviously they're watching. They said, nice, glad setting it up was so easy. Did you have the getting started tutorial, or did you just wing it?
Yeah.
And I told them I winged it.
Yeah.
I just figured I should be able to figure this out. I've done enough Service Cloud implementations. How different can this be? And it really was quite different, but I winged it, and it was all set up in about a half hour. The full soup to nuts help desk. They got back to me and said, thanks for the terrific review. So I appreciate their watching and looking. So thank you at Desk. So the blog post is split into 4 sections. Essentially, I split it into the initial setup, the configuration, the user experience, and then I did a very quick comparison to the Service Cloud, Salesforce.com Service Cloud. And I can say I really did have this working help desk up and running in less than a half hour. The initial setup's so easy. You sign up for your one free agent, as they're called, and it basically sets up everything for you in the background within like 2 minutes of signing up. It sets up the console. It sets up your external facing like support site. Ours was arkusinc.desk.com, which I later turned off. It sets up the knowledge base. It sets up your channels, as they're called, so the ability to take in these help desk tickets via email, via Twitter, via Facebook.
Very cool.
I only set up email and Twitter, but essentially I set it up with my email address, and I was like sending myself emails, and it was coming right into the system. I was able to respond to them. It looked like it was coming from an email address. All that stuff really worked, like the email to case, if you will. And then I set up Twitter, and it took a minute to set up Twitter. That's the killer part. Like, you can set up the Salesforce Service Cloud Twitter app, but it's clunky. It needs to, you have to like click buttons to make it run searches to pull in cases to then say that you want to create cases or not. I know they're working on stuff with Radiant 6, but like, this was so simple, so dead simple.
So basically, Desk.com setup of Twitter was that thing that they show in Dreamforce, CloudForce of how simple it is.
Yeah.
But it's not as simple in Salesforce at all.
It's not even close, and it's way more clunky inside of Salesforce. This was super simple. I mean, I set it up, and boom, there were cases flying in or tickets flying into the system. Anytime it was at mentioning me, I had some searches set up. Like, they have some pre-configured searches for like Apple setup, and you can just pull them right in and reply to them via Twitter.
Nice.
It all works. I think I sent you a direct message from, like, that's one thing. You could publicly at mention them or direct message them. It's pretty neat. Very easy to set up. Very easy to configure. The user experience is really simple. It looks like an inbox. If you can use Gmail, you can use Desk.com. You'll know how to use it immediately. Everything's very simple. One screen. They have these macros that you can, they're basically like actions, but they're more than one action. So it's like sort of like setting up workflow rules. Like, I want to change the status and send them out this notification and also change the priority in one click, and boom, it does it. Right. Very cool. And, you know, I sort of talked a little bit about the experience between Service Cloud and Desk.com. If you're a small shop and you want to support a product or your products, and you want to do it via email, you want to do it via Twitter, you want to do it via Facebook, and you really want to pay attention to Twitter and Facebook and make sure that that's really where you're at, Desk.com is the product for you. It works, and it works really well. I would say it works way better than Salesforce.com's Service Cloud for that particular use case.
Right.
You don't have, you know, I did look at how to do the Salesforce integration and what you can show and what you can hide and show things to the agent, but I didn't fully configure that. And I'm sure if I took another half hour, I would have gotten that done. Obviously, you don't get the full 360 view of a customer, but if you're just supporting them, you've got sort of what you need.
So do you get solutions? Do you get pre-canned solutions?
You get pre-canned knowledge. They call it a knowledge base. It's very easy to set up and add new articles to it. You get analytics. So when you log in, you sort of have these three consoles that you can go into. Either the agent console, the admin console, which is where you set things up, or the analytics console, where you get reports and dashboards type stuff.
Cool. So I guess the big thing, you know, obviously, well, we made a not prediction. We made the analysis that Salesforce bought this because it was a competitor, and it wasn't to buy it for the technology, because the technology is something that they sort of have, but it's sort of, you know, it's either a competitor or they've got, you know, competitor people. You know, it clearly looks like this thing is just so easy to set up and so easy that on the low end, you're just not going to use, you know, they're eating Salesforce's lunch, as it were. Interesting to think, like, okay, so if you buy it just as a competitive thing, like you want to own, you know, because they're eating your lunch, you know, what part of that will then bake itself back into the bigger product, and will they make a good stepping stone between them, you know, from Desk.com to, you know, Service Cloud. I would love, if it sounds like it's so easy to set up, it sounds like some of these features are just built right in and great. My guess is it doesn't scale as well as Salesforce does, meaning, you know, millions and millions and millions. But it sounds like for a small shop, 1 to 5 agents, again, very social network based.
That's the key. Yeah. It's very social network based. They have a nice mobile client. That's what it does. It does it really, really, really well.
Well, that's at blog.arkusinc.com. You can read that that review.
Read it. Discuss it.
You should, and submit a ticket. All right, so the big news, and we kind of got into this last week with a what is Apple going to announce, and I know Apple is a hardware company. They also make operating system, and they also have a cloud product. So we are going to. I know this is a cloud focus. We are focused on the cloud, so we will try to keep it all to that. But we are also Apple fanboys, and it is sort of they are a technology. We were talking to someone about. We were at a bar that the price of what you buy in beer changed the price of the beer. So remember that?
It was
the
market.
The market. And I said to them, well, can we be market makers at this table and all order the same thing and lower the price of that beer just by being, all four of us ordering beer? And this is what Apple is to the technology market. They are a market maker. By making the things that they do, they change the scope of what other people do for years to come. So I think, in that they are in this business and in that they are moving more towards the cloud, I think it makes it relevant. Maybe I'm just making an excuse to talk about Apple stuff.
That's what I think.
Don't even need it. So they announced basically two big things and one smaller thing.
Two big things and one smaller thing?
Yeah. Well, or maybe
what was
one
the smaller thing.
One big thing and two smaller things.
What was the one smaller thing in your original assessment?
They're the well, let's get to them all.
Well, start with that one.
Oh, iPhoto. iPhoto for the iPad.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go with the iCloud update that they did.
That's in somewhere in the middle. All right, so let's talk about all the things they did. Let's talk about the little stuff first, and we'll get to the big piece.
Okay.
So first one was they announced the Apple TV update. Basically,
that's one of the bigger ones.
I think that's maybe medium.
Medium.
It's a $99 box. It's now 1080p. And the operating system now has a new look, although you can get it on your old one. But it basically does 1080p. It has an updated processor and more RAM, and it can do 1080p. They then included in that a nice, cool feature, which is they took the iTunes ability to re-download any TV show and moved it into movies, which we kind of all thought they were going to do.
I don't understand why it wasn't there in the first place. I guess it has something to do with the studios.
It has everything to do with studios. There's two
Because
studios that are not allowing it.
You could always, or since they launched iCloud, you could go to an Apple TV and basically watch instantly any TV show that you had purchased in iTunes.
Yep.
And now and obviously your music as well, and now they're moving that to movies, which is cool.
Movies that you've purchased. So there's no iTunes match to this. So if you have movies that you've ripped, so your own DVDs, because you would never.
Yeah, I wish
pirate
there
anything.
was an iTunes match for movies.
That would never happen. Never gonna happen. Too much money in there. But I went in. I have 30 movies. Surprising. I had 30 movies that I bought over time. Most of them kids movies, but some of them like whatever. I remember one of them was a movie that I purchased my remote purchase because I have one remote, and at one time I had two Apple TVs, so I was controlling an old one and a new one, so I was controlling them both with one remote. Basically it's the same remote signal, so I was controlling one, and lo and behold, on the other one I bought the Expendables, the Stallone movie.
Good for you.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's a nice thing. I mean, again, we talk about all the time, like the ability to get to your content. Having the TV show. Having TV shows re-downloadable, basically so you can watch them wherever you are, is a nice feature because it makes you kind of not, when you're starting to make that decision of how you're going to watch them, you think, okay, if I buy it on Apple TV, and I pay the premium, you're paying a premium for it, definitely, as opposed to waiting for Netflix or whatever, or watching on Hulu Plus, I can watch it here now on my Apple TV. It will sync down to my my computer. I can also then watch it on my iPad or iPhone whenever I want. So I can both watch it, or I can then download it and then take it onto a plane. So it gives you that both online offline access, which I think it's worth the premium. There are times where I actually want to take 3 or 4 episodes with me and get on a plane and watch it. So now that's available with movies, and I think that's great for me. And I have a kid to be able to go, hey, what do you want to take on the movie? What do you take on the train and go, we're going on a trip. Okay, you want to watch these 4? Boom, 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 download and wait 20 minutes and then hit the road with them.
What do you think that will obviously exist still on the existing Apple TVs, though?
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to buy the new Apple TV? Just for the 1080p?
We'll get there in a second.
Oh yeah,
already
you're
did.
going to buy everything.
Yeah, I buy everything.
I don't think I'm going to buy the new Apple TV.
For you,
I think
probably
my
not.
Apple TV that I already have for just 1080p, that's all I'm getting. I'm cool.
Yeah, just 1080p. That's
I'm
it.
good without it for now.
For me, there's Netflix now is in 1080p, which is cool. So
everything looks good to me already.
Yeah,
it looks fine. Like
Yep.
nothing. I've never watched anything on Apple TV and said this looks like crap.
No, 720 is really good looking.
Yeah, it looks fine.
But
So
1080
for
is
1080p, I don't need to buy it just for that. Unless there's something that comes out later on and they're like, only with the new Apple TV you can do this cool thing.
Right.
Which we haven't seen yet. I'm cool with my existing one.
Totally. They actually built it into the iPad purchasing process. So it was.
Are you sure you don't want to keep going without buying?
No,
this
it was
other
like
thing?
it was like an accessory.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine. But I was gonna get it anyway.
It's like, do you want the camera kit and the Apple TV?
It was like Apple Care, Apple TV.
Okay.
Like at that point, well, you think about it. The smart case is $69.
Oh, it's another $30.
The Apple TV is $99. Okay, those are really the two big announcements. I think those for the Apple TV side. Then they got into the new iPad. And I will say, it is the new iPad. Everybody predicted iPad HD, iPad 3. They went and they're calling it the new iPad. What is... And I too, like a lot of people were probably shocked. And I was reading this morning on Zeit, talking about Zeit, I love Zeit. And one of the articles was like, well, it makes sense because the iPad is a piece of hardware like your MacBook. You don't call it the MacBook 6. You call it the MacBook. And when there's a new one out, you call it the new MacBook, the new MacBook Air, the new Apple TV, the new 24-inch monitor. They're only going to have the device, and it is a device. They're now saying the new iPhone will be the new iPhone. It'll be the iPhone, right? So they're going to get away from all this, the things. They're just going to call it what it is because they can sell so many of them.
The OSs will continue to have names, obviously.
Yeah, because those have numbers.
It's not the new iOS. It's iOS number, or maybe they'll get into dogs or something.
iOS is 5.1. That actually came out yesterday.
I downloaded that yesterday.
It has a bunch of fixes and nothing that I was like, you can delete things from your photo stream. There's a couple features. So anyway, the big one is the Retina display, which is it is a pixel density of when you're looking at it, so you can't see the pixels. So it's at 15. I think it's 15 inches. You can't see. It's like 230 pixels per inch or something. So
that was fairly impressive.
Yeah,
they were showing it, and they were saying that the screen that they were trying to demo it for you couldn't handle. They had to scale it down.
Well, that's the joke, is that you can't see how good it is
until you see it. Because no screen can represent even how good. Not your HD TV can't represent how good the screen is. So it's kind of like, I can't wait to see it. So that was a big one. It has a new processor in it with a quad-core, not processor, but a quad-core video processor to handle all this new video stuff. Graphics, graphics, so games and things.
And they threw in 4G. So now which I don't think is a huge deal. People are getting a lot, but 4G. I mean, basically anything coming out now that has a cellular thing and it has to be 4G. And they're doing both Verizon and AT&T.
Why was Sprint left out of that?
I don't think Sprint has a very good 4G story.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be my theory.
But I mean, it still works on 3G bands. It's just surprising that they wouldn't offer it.
I don't, because that's like saying, okay, well, that's why you have the iPad 2 then. Go buy that one, yeah.
There were a few others. I mean, they had the video camera.
So the video camera in the back is the same one as the iPhone 4S. So it's a 5-megapixel
1080p video camera.
And a 1080p video.
Pretty neat.
Pretty cool, yep. It looked really nice. It doesn't. I don't think it has a flash on it, though, which is interesting. Didn't see a flash.
You don't need a flash when you have cool editing tools.
Yeah, I mean, but it's kind of strange to say, oh, we've got this great camera, not that flash is impressive, it's just a little LED light, but...
They had dictation, which seemed like the start of Siri moving to the iPad.
Yep.
I'm interested in, but dictation, which is neat.
Yep.
It looked like it worked pretty well.
Yep.
I mean,
still needs an internet.
It was a canned thing.
Still needs an internet connection.
Sure.
In order to work. I don't dictate a lot, but I would like to try it. I mean, if I could do that into like Evernote or into Notes or even into Mail, it might be fun, although...
I think talking that way is not intuitive. It's like, I am talking, comma, and then I continue to talk, period, space. And now I want to add another sentence, comma, where I will talk about something else, comma, and another thing, period. Like, who talks that way?
I wouldn't use it that way. I would just rattle off a bunch of stuff, then go back, because you're not going to go and send. I mean, you're basically not going to let it just do its work. So, what other things were in the new iPad? So I gotta
be honest, I don't recall, because I was watching them and I said, I'm just gonna stick with my iPad 1.
Oh wow! So now it's decision time.
Here's the thing. I just don't use it enough.
Yeah.
Like when I can't even remember the CEO's name. Cook.
Yeah.
Schiller does a very good job, but Cook I'm not.
Schiller is good. The world's biggest dog.
But he's up there and he's like, we surveyed people and their favorite device when they have a laptop or a PC, an iPad, and a phone to send email with is their iPad. And I couldn't disagree more. My favorite device to do email on is my laptop. It's the best at it. Your favorite device to browse the internet with is your iPad. And I said, no, my favorite device to browse the internet with is my laptop because it's the best at it. Like, I don't agree with some of the things that they say. I guess I'd be one of the people in the survey that brought some of the statistics down. But to me, my laptop is still the best at doing those things. And doing both of them at the same time, it's far better at doing that than the iPad. So I thought to myself,
I love it when you call yourself self.
Where has your iPad been for the last month? And it's been in the same spot on my desk because I haven't used it in a whole month. And I said, I'm not buying a new one. I just don't use it enough. I don't browse the web with it. Occasionally, if I'm laying in bed and I don't want to get my laptop out and put it on my lap, I'll grab the iPad. If I want to watch something on Netflix and I don't want to put it on my big 46-inch TV that I have and I want to watch it on a 11-inch screen,
9.7.
Whatever. I watch that on the iPad instead of my laptop. But I just don't use the iPad that much. I don't game. Like, I'm not a big gamer. My games on the iOS are flick games. They're like stupid games. Like, it's not for me. I'm not saying it's not great. It seems really awesome. It's just not something that I feel the urge that I need to go upgrade. I feel differently about the phones. Like, when they put out the new phones, like, I always want the new phones because they're such a part of my life. The iPod has not done that for me.
Hasn't?
Sorry, the iPad, to me, hasn't made its way into my daily life where it's such a big part of it that I don't want the next best one.
Right.
The one I have is fine because it does what I want it to do.
That's the thing. It sounds like you haven't sort of broken out. Like, for me, and I talk to myself, I say self, how often do you use your iPad? And at this point, I use my iPad more than my phone, not as much as my laptop. Laptop is tough because I use my laptop to do work 12 hours a day. I'm literally on my laptop. Like, it is the thing that I always spend the most money on it. It is the thing that I have the most into, whatever.
I mean, but you know your laptop is better at email than your iPad.
There's a difference. Depends. Do I want to sit and, if I want to sit and pound through and do really good email, great. If I just want to go and quickly check email, meaning I'm walking around the house and I want to quickly check email, right? I want to check it in the morning when I wake up in the morning. No, it's not the best. My laptop's a pain in the butt. Laptop is big and heavy and has a ton of light and isn't easy to grab off my nightstand and go, let's see some email. Boom, boom, boom. Mark this for whatever, and come back to it. It's also not as good for reading. So I don't want to read books on my 15-inch monitor here.
I don't read books.
Well, there you go. I don't want to listen to I don't want to listen to podcasts on my 15-inch, my big thing. I don't ever listen to anything on this.
I listen to all my podcasts on my phone because I don't want to listen to them on a big iPad.
Well, you're listening to them on a device. It doesn't matter where. Whatever. I have the device with me. That's the difference, right? I have that device with me at all times. I don't want to watch movies on my laptop. It's for watching movies or TV or whatever in bed or on a train or on a plane. The laptop actually is a horrible experience with the way the thing and the keyboard is not good. So to me, I also use it for, like, it's just, my iPad has become part of my daily, like, literally my daily thing. I wake up in the morning. I used to grab my iPhone. I don't grab my iPhone anymore. I leave my iPhone. And then I pick up my iPad. And I read through, I look at Zeit, and I read articles for 20 minutes. I look at email. What happened in email overnight? I look at the weather. I then look at Chatter in our org. Hey, what happened in Chatter? Let me respond to a few things. It's become that device that I want to use. Oh yeah, then I can go and jump on a game or do whatever or read a book. But it's such a tweener device that it has become that. Now, do I need the new iPad? No, I don't need it. That's the want. I want it. And for me, and we were having the debate of what to do now that we have an iPad 1, an iPad 2, and now it'll be the new iPad, not an iPad 3, in the household. What do we do with that third one? And we're kind of discussing it. But here's what I read someone said today on Zeit in bed on the iPad. If you use your iPad less than 10 hours a week, don't get it.
Then I'm in that camp.
There you go.
Because I don't use my
iPad. But I feel like you also
much.
don't. I mean, I also feel like you have never tried to use it.
I certainly have.
Do you have OmniFocus on your iPad?
Absolutely.
Do you check it on your iPad?
No.
Well, then you're not trying.
I don't
Do you
use...
have Chatter on your iPad?
Yeah.
Do you check it on your iPad?
No.
Okay, so you're
because
not
it's
trying.
not where I want to do that stuff.
But you're not trying. I mean,
But why should I want to try? Why should I have to try to use something? I should want to. And
listen, my parents talked about the computer. Why should I get a computer?
No.
When I can write letters.
But why should I have to really try? That's not what this device is sold as. It's not the device that you really have to try to use to get it to work for you. It's the device that you love to use, and it's so awesome. I've tried, but I've installed programs on it.
But you're also stuck in your old ways.
I've got all my email on it. All my accounts are on it.
Every account.
Okay. I've got it all. I've got it everywhere. I've got it on my laptop. I've got it on my phone. I've got it everywhere. I've got the Netflix on it. I've got the OmniFocus on it. I've got Chatter on it. I've got some games on it. I've got everything on it.
Yep.
It's not the thing I grab.
Okay.
It's not what I prefer to grab to do things with.
I know you very well, and I know that there are things that you resist until a certain point, and then all of a sudden you find some usefulness in it, and then you go all in.
No, I would have found it already.
I think you have the one that's 2 years old at this point.
It does the same thing.
It doesn't.
It does.
One has two cameras on it, the other doesn't. One is much faster, the other isn't. One has a really cool design and flip cover, the other doesn't. Trust me, there's a difference between 1 and 2. I think they're huge. I think the difference between 2 and 3 is less. I don't have 3 yet, but whatever.
The camera means nothing to me on an iPad. It just doesn't. It means nothing.
You don't use FaceTime.
Do you do it on my phone?
WebEx? I use the iPad.
No.
I use the WebEx. I use the iPhone for WebEx at work, so I can sometimes see if I'm doing training. I can see on the WebEx what they're experiencing because there's always sometimes delay, whether it's GoTo or WebEx. There's always a delay, and you want to know what the delay is, so you're not saying, "Hey, click on A."
I just don't. I have one.
Right.
I just don't feel the need to get another one.
I hear you. For you, it doesn't sound like
it just doesn't make. It just doesn't make. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get the new Apple TV. I'm not going to get the new iPad, which in the past, I'd buy both of those. Right. I'm going to take that $700 and I'm going to buy a 24-inch monitor with it.
Well, there you go.
And that's how I'm thinking. I'm going to get an awesome monitor. That's what I'm going to do. Everyone else could go get their Apple TV and their iPad. I'm going to get an awesome monitor, and that'll be my thing.
Yeah. It's
because that, to me, is more valuable.
So anyway, for the other 80 million people,
there's going to be so many people that are going to buy this thing, love it. God bless you. I mean, look, I believe it's a great device. I just haven't, for me, found the need to have to upgrade it with every cycle.
Well, you don't use it.
That's right. I just haven't found that it's that much part of my life that I need it.
If you use something every day, then you would want to upgrade it.
Well, like my phone.
Right.
I love when the new phone comes out because I get it. I love when the new MacBook Pro comes out. I get it. It's great. I use those things every day, all the time, all day long.
Well,
the iPad is not to me like that. To you, I know I see you. You carry it around with you.
Well, I carry it around with me because it's become part. Now, it is also, and I've said this before, it is also the first device that if you took my 3 devices and laid them out on the table, put a gun to my head and said, give up one, I'd say, give the iPad up.
Well, no kidding.
Well, that's not, some people, I have people in my family who don't use computers anymore. They just use the iPad. It can do enough for them that's their device to do anything on. But it is still a tweener. It is still not it's a luxury. It's a luxury on to sit and to be able to do some of those things, but without the bulk and weight and, thing of a laptop.
For that, it's great. Like I said, I grab it if we have one TV in the house, and if the girlfriend's watching something on TV that I don't want to watch, I grab the iPad and I'll watch Swamp People on Netflix, right?
Right.
And it's great for that. I would not do that on my laptop. I would not do that on my phone. It's too small. I used to love watching things on the phone.
Me too.
Now I got this big screen.
Now I can't
right?
handle it. Right?
So there are things that I do find it useful for, but I don't use it, like you said, that 10-hour a week metric.
Yeah.
I don't hit that.
So I think that's a great metric.
That is a great
Someone
metric.
try that. Put it in your calculator, and if you think that you use it, again, for devices that I use all the time, and I'm not saying, again, need is not. New Retina display, other than it making everything look really, really great, I think things look pretty good now.
Well, that's the thing. I have the first one. I think things look great. I also just don't think it's the best web browsing device on the planet. I still believe a desktop or a laptop browser is much better than the Safari browser. They're getting
identical.
there, but there are still like UI elements that might be phased out over time, but like hover overs and things like that just they just don't work that well on the iPad for like certain websites. And
I will say I went on vacation 2 weeks ago, the lack of the one podcast, and I took all 3 devices, and the iPad was the thing that I kept with me all the time because I was reading books on it.
You have a great point there.
I was reading books on it. I had movies on it. I would use it for a quick email if I needed to. Wasn't really a lot of Wi-Fi, but like it has become that device that I when I walk out the door, I always have my phone on it because my phone. But now even with iMessage on it, like it can start to do some of the stuff that I would even have it on the iPhone.
That's a good point. I love my iPad when I'm on vacation.
Yeah,
because it does all the things I need.
It does everything enough.
Yeah,
right. I agree. It's not the best. I don't think it's the best at email, especially at browsing email. If I just want to quickly check email, again, I could go open up the laptop, type in whatever, or I could pick up and go boom, boom, and I'll be in 2 seconds. For checking weather and stuff, phone's probably pretty good. iPad's good. Having with you, I mean, I take it to the gym. I take it down to the gym and back, so I get an hour a day with it. And I'll come back and I'll be watching something. I'll unplug it, set it up in the kitchen. I'll make some lunch, and I'll be still watching it on the iPad. It's like a TV. I would never, ever do anything like that on either my phone or my laptop. All right, so the new iPad, that's March 16th. Clearly, you'll be ogling over mine when it comes.
Yeah, I will want to see it. I'll want to see the display. That's really the only thing that really, to me, that they were like, yeah, this is new is the display. I want to see how great pictures and video look on the display.
And so for the display, they've added in a lot of new apps. And the one app that I think that...
I got tons of updates yesterday from all the Apple apps.
Right, because all of them have to get ready for this Retina display on the iPad.
It was so funny, the description, when you click the app and it's like, what are we giving you? What's in this update? It's like, updated for the fantastic new or the gorgeous new Retina display, like Apple styles.
Retina display enabled. So... but they launched the last of the iLife series. So they've always had iWork, whatever. The last one, I was going to make it my pick of the week, but it's kind of like easy, so I won't make it my pick of the week. But it's iPhoto for the iPad. It is unbelievable what that device can do, and I downloaded it. I was playing with it last night. I actually sent you one of the things that you can do.
Yeah, I got it.
Which is create a journal.
It's really nice. This journal that you sent me, it's really cool.
Using an iCloud, you can send it out. It is definitely their loaded gun against Timeline and Facebook.
Oh yeah, because it looks just like a Timeline type of thing. It also seems like this is the replacement for the disappearing Mobile Me galleries.
Yep.
And these are really a lot nicer than the Mobile Me galleries. You've added some things to it, like the calendar, the date, the weather, the location. I mean, it's very cool. Very nice looking thing that you sent me here.
Yeah, it's very. So
it's hosted
iPhoto
on iCloud.
We could do a whole podcast on all the features. They spent a good 15 minutes talking about this one app, but iPhoto is probably one of the most loved apps.
There's so many of these photo apps that are in the App Store that iPhoto can probably kill.
Oh, just crunches now, because they've built in stuff like double tapping on a picture will find every other picture like it, so you can look at them all in together. I mean,
it was
just
cool. Nice
unbelievable
little demo.
Stuff. Yeah. All right, so that is not my CloudFocus app pick of the week.
Oh, what is?
Well, you're gonna go first.
Or am I gonna go first?
You're gonna go first.
All right. So once again, I'm picking an app that I haven't used.
Typical.
Very typical of me. There's just too many apps. I don't use that many apps. So
I know you gotta start using more apps on your iPad.
Well, what I do is I try and find things that our listeners might find useful.
Okay.
And I think some of our listeners might find this thing useful. It is called Cloud Ally, one word. And it is essentially the ability to back up your data in the cloud. And you're saying, well, Justin, that's not that interesting.
Nope.
But I think it is interesting because it backs up your cloud accounts. So it backs up the data from your Google Apps accounts. Right. It backs up your data from your Salesforce accounts. Okay. And it backs up your data from like Amazon accounts, SimpleDB, things like that. So
I feel like you picked one of these very similarly to the one that did social, that backed up all your social
You did
accounts.
the social one once.
Okay.
So this one has, for each Gmail or Yahoo Mail account, it's $2.49 a month. Mm-hmm. For each Google Apps,
$2.49.
$2.49 a month.
Okay, I have $249.
No. For each Google Apps user, it's $2.99 a month.
Okay.
For each Salesforce seat license, it's $2.99 a month.
And so it's you add them on as per cloud connections.
Right.
So quickly adding up to $10, $20 a month.
Right, to back up all your data.
Okay.
And then you can back up for each 10 gigabytes of Amazon Web Service SimpleDB data is $11.99 a month.
So what about restoring? Obviously,
that's one of the coolest things. You can restore and access it at any time. You can, if you accidentally delete a record or anything like that, you can go restore it or export your data from Cloud Ally at any time.
But would it push it back into the...
Haven't tried it.
So if I had 1,000 records, 1,000 accounts deleted out of Salesforce, could it go put them back?
Don't know if it could put them back, but you can definitely go get it.
Because remember, it's cool, like it, but without the ability to actually put it back where it was, like, yeah, give me some CSV files, great, thanks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather say, oh, yeah, okay, great, I deleted these 7 accounts. Go put them back. Oh, and put back the contacts.
That would be pretty neat. History. Maybe we should try it. There's a 15-day free trial. Anyway, you can go to cloudally.com and check out this product, which I think some people might find interesting. They do have enterprise-level pricing if you have 100 or more accounts on either of these services.
Nice.
So you have 100 Salesforce account or licenses, you can get some better pricing, presumably.
Well, I'm going to pick something that's going to make you want to use your iPad again.
Go on.
A fun game. So I've been playing Scrabble on the iPad and Words with Friends and, you know, those social networking games that you kind of play with other people. And I like them. The turn-based ones where you kind of can do something and then not pay attention for a little bit and come back. Well, someone here at Arkus sent me a link. I think he sent it to all of us saying, you got to download this app and try this. It's a new game, like a new social networking turn-based game. I'm like, all right, let me try it. And it's called Draw Something. Actually, I think it's number 1 on the App Store today, so I'm not really telling a lot, but sometimes you miss those. And it is a very simple game where you are given, you pick somebody else, you play with somebody else, you can play with someone off your Facebook, it'll read through who has, so I have like 6 or 7 friends that have it. And you start a game, and what it does is the first time, it gives you 3 words of varying difficulty, and then you have to draw it. So you draw those words. Right? So
forget it. I'd be terrible at this game.
So you draw it how you would draw it. Now, I did this to start, and I sent it, and then you send it to the person. They then are watching. They then see what you drew, but they don't see it like the picture. They see it as you draw it. So not in real time, but it's like a replay.
Yeah.
So what's cool is because that is actually a way to help the other person get it. Because the way you draw it, like I drew a couple things, I kept deleting them. I didn't know that they got to see that I deleted it 4 times. And then they have a set of letters, not all the letters in the alphabet, but enough to make the word, and they have to pick, they have to make, and they
based on what you drew.
Right, so then
it
shows you.
Oh, I see what that is. It's this.
Right, and then they can pick out the word, spell it.
Some of them are easy, like a house.
Right,
or
right.
a dog, or
yes,
something.
or puppy, or something. And it's usually something that's not just like a house. That'd be very, very easy. And then there's degrees. And if you choose what word you want, so you can choose a harder word or an easy word. Anyway, then they do it back to you.
This sounds fun. I want to play you.
Yeah, this is fun. And it's sort of non-competitive, I guess, other than you're trying... I think you both get the stars or the coins or something.
Does this work on the iPhone?
There's an... Yep, and it cross-syncs. So it's a nice little app. Anyway, it's called Draw Something. There's Draw Something that's 99 cents, and there's Draw Something Free, which is free. there's something you get in the 99-cent version. I don't know what it is, but I'm on the free version. You can have multiple games. But again, the real fun part is that it's not just it shows you a picture; it shows you how they drew it, and in the real time, and you get more points for.
What was that game show that they did this? It wasn't like Pictionary, was it?
Yeah, Pictionary.
Pictionary?
Yeah.
Where you see the people draw, but it's like a phrase.
Right.
It's kind of like
this
that.
This isn't a phrase. This is just a word.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a fun little game. Like, again, I love these little things.
I like the ones that connect to Facebook and do all that stuff. They're fun.
Again, it's not like some of these games where if you don't go, people would get mad. I mean, it's a drawing game,
right.
So it's a little bit creative.
Like Scrabble, I am no good at.
Good for all ages. Doesn't take any thinking.
That's good.
You have different colors and you have different pen types. But other than that, you
can't
just go.
do thinking games.
No thinking game for you. So anyway, it's called Draw Something. It's pretty cool. I since started playing like 2 days ago, I now have like 3 other friends who are starting to play it. It's one of those like everybody's starting to do it. Yeah. So Draw Something it's on Android and Apple, so it's iOS and Android. Draw Something by OMG.
Is it truly cross-platform? Like I can play you if you're on Android?
I think so.
Cool.
I think so. OMG Pop is the company name, and it is free or 99 cents, whichever one you want to buy. I think they have other features in it. There's also something where you can blow away the different letters to give you less letters to do it, but it's pretty easy. And my wife did catfish today with a little fit thing and then a fish.
That's a good one.
She put them together, and I got it after looking. Anyway. So that's it. That's it for CloudFocus Weekly. We will see you next week. Remember to go to the iTunes and download the episodes. Don't have to listen to them. Remember to go to blog.arkusinc.com. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/arkusinc, twitter.com/JasonMAtwood, and twitter.com/JustEdelstein. We're on the Facebook, facebook.com/arkusinc. We have the new timeline view up there, so you can see that if you're interested on our page. And of course, you can always comment on the blog posts in using Discuss, and we'll see those and we'll come and comment back with you. All right, until next week, and as we always do at the end of the show, we say the new episode. No, we say enjoy those cloudy days.